Hello, folks. Excuse me, please. I dozed. So let's call the Finance Committee meeting to order for Monday, December 21st. And our discussion today has to do with the November 2020 financials and the balance sheet. And I'd be really delighted to turn the meeting over to our staff, to Patty and Steve.
Okay, thank you. If we start with the balance sheet, the statement of financial position, the important numbers are accounts receivable, which at November 30th stood at $370,000. Of that, 81% is current or 1 to 30 days. So a majority of our receivables or the invoices that we send out are in good shape. Our assets are what they are. We haven't added too much to them yet this year. Our construction in progress is at $2.6 million at this current time. Nothing yet has been added for the Tiger grant and the bridge work because we have had to realign those invoices for the payments through New York State. Our accounts payable at November 30th, $988,000. Through a couple of strokes of very good luck, as of Friday the 18th, last Friday, we were down to $735,000 in accounts payable. We had the problem with the CARES Act that we had been overpaid. So as I was scrambling to make the money to repay the overpayment, I had left a lot of CARES Act that hadn't been requested. So that submission ended up being $133,000. And we were able to use that on Friday, and we paid off the Leos. We paid the last fuel bill that came in, many things like that were paid, and high price things. So that brought down our accounts payable to this limit. Unless we get a little bit more good luck, I think we can expect to see that grow as we go through the winter. Of course, our accrued expenses, the due to New York State is 19 million of that 21 million. And the other general liabilities of 360,000, 189,000 is the liability for retirement, which has been paid off for last year.
You just left the screen off the screen. I don't know what happened. They're still on there, but we just can't see them. Yeah.
And 160,000 in the security deposit liabilities that should be in a bank account that is not. Any questions on the balance sheet? All right, we will move to the bridge, actual to budget. Our income has stayed as we have projected, that we were very conservative with the estimates on the bridge tolls. The truck traffic has been very strong of late, which is keeping us in a good position. Our rental income continues to be duty free. Doesn't pay until May as long as they are not open. And we have no advertising income coming in. And you can see the PPP year to date has all been used. And on a side note, we have submitted the PPP and all the documentation to the bank. who is in the process of reviewing it and will get back to me if they have any questions on how we got any of the numbers. Our salaries and wages, we didn't use the summer help that we budgeted. And our seasonal bridge crew was let go early, so that kept that down. We know our payroll taxes and employee benefits were not properly budgeted for this year, so they will continue to be over budget. Interest expense, I'm not quite sure why it happened, but the wind turbine line of credit, the interest expense was budgeted in the bridge, though it's being charged properly to the wind turbine. So that will continue to show a negative balance because the interest is actually being charged elsewhere. Our maintenance and bridge maintenance expenses, we're still trying to push them out as best we can. And some of the maintenance on the bridge will be included in the Tiger grant. Utilities are about even right now. Our general expenses, the overage is primarily legal fees and maintenance agreements. Maintenance agreements were budgeted at $73,000 this year. Last year's actual was actually 85. So I'm not certain why the reduction in the maintenance agreements. We are currently at 72,000. So we will continue to see that that line item get larger. The change in net assets, minus 3,500 for November, minus 179,000 for the year. With depreciation, we are at 95,000 for the month and 915,000 for the year. Any questions? Okay. We'll go on to the monthly, just the activities for the month. There's not a lot that is too much out of kilter for the month's expenses. Are there any questions specific to just the month of November? Otherwise, we'll go on to the year to date. All right, if we look at the year to date, our rental income is still up because of Veritas buying out its lease. Of course, fuel sales and fare charges will be down as Allegiant is gone and the airport is not running as it was or budgeted. The port rental fees started out being a timing issue, and we are starting to see a lot more salt come through, but it was budgeted to begin arriving in August. What did not happen were the wood pellets, so there will be a lag there that won't go away. The wind turbine project, came in under budget, so we will not see that additional money come in. Other income is being bolstered mostly by the insurance proceeds that were $86,000 that came in earlier this year. And the CARES Act was $84,000 for November. We are at 1.1 million year to date. So we are anticipating having about $850,000 of the $2.4 million left for next fiscal year at the rate we are requesting reimbursement. Salaries and wages, we paid the longshoremen 65% of the budget was due to their summer work. That's over, but that should even out as the year goes on. The taxes and benefits, I think I just did not do a proper calculation on those. Our insurance used to all be in prepaid. Now that it's not, we appear to be over budget, so we aren't. Interest expense, we see the actual line of credit for the wind turbine budgeted, though it was budgeted in the bridge, it is actually being charged here, so we will continue to see that go over budget. Maintenance expenses and the 4 wind turbine projects are under budget. We're trying to push out as best we can anything that's not absolutely essential. Our utilities are over budget due to the fact that the solar invoicing was never put in last year's budget. Our general expenses are under budget as a whole, though things such as legal, which was never budgeted in airport, is now over budget, and some of our other items are reaching the budget limits. So we have a $58,000 profit for November, $1.2 million profit for year to date. If you took out the CARES Act, we would be approximately $2 million in the hole at this point. Any questions?
Patty,
Yeah.
I'd like you to just touch again on something you mentioned that I'm not sure I understood. The revenue for the Port Wind Turbine project,
Yes.
what's cooking there?
What's booked there? Why was the estimate low?
What's the discrepancy between budget and actual?
Well, Mr. Coffin, I can speak to that. It's the way that we anticipated the project to work. And so in past projects, we've had a lot of storage, and that depends on how the projects run. So if maybe a lot of components come in early May and June, but don't start going out till August, there's a tremendous amount of money that we get in revenue from having them stored on at the port. So this project, everything started going out within the month. So storage was, that doesn't account for everything there, but it was a good part of that difference, I think, for the question you're asking. So between the 1.6 and the, is that it, Chris? The 1.6 and the 2.3. The 2.3. Is that what you were asking about?
Yes.
Am I making some sense there?
Yes, that's satisfactory. That makes sense.
Yeah, and it's all based on, it's just like you assume what you might get at, when you do budget, and you go with the assumption that it'll be similar to what you've experienced, but you can't be sure. It's the same reason we never went forward with any wood pellets this year.
Mm-hmm.
Can't hear you.
That answers the questions that I had. Dave, do you have any questions?
I'm good. You guys have gone through, and I just made some notes, but they're pretty much kind of what it was last month, so.
Yep.
Sorry, David, can you repeat that?
Oh, can you hear me?
Now we can.
Sorry. Yeah, it's pretty much what it was last month, so for those,
Yeah.
and Chris's questions cleared up a couple questions I had, but, and I remember Steve explaining the blade situation.
Thank
So,
you.
yep, I'm good.
Yeah, I don't know if they can hear us right now, actually, because our sound is tied into the ceiling, and I don't know how much of, if it's just the screen or the microphone as well. Can everyone hear us?
Well, there certainly is a real reverberation or echo quality that, for instance, with Dave's speech, it's quite clear, and Patty's and Steve's and Anne Marie's is not as clear at all.
I'm just gonna text her.
I would agree. I can hear Chris clearly.
I agree also. I can hear Chris and Dave.
Is that because of the mask?
On that?
I understand it. I just wondered.
Did you hear us? I don't have my audio.
If you turn your audio on and I mute mine, maybe that'll work.
David, can you hear us now?
Well, same as before.
Okay, well, we're having some trouble with Anne Marie.
But I do hear you, Steve. You, and probably as clear as you were before.
Okay.
Maybe clearer.
Now the boom has gone away. It's all clear.
That has happened. It's,
I think that's probably because everybody in the meeting room is muted, I'll bet. So if you guys will just be quiet, the other three of us, the rest of us will take care of it. Well, I don't believe I have or know of any other business that we need to address as a part of the Finance Committee meeting. I wonder whether there is any other business that we need to bring up during this meeting. In that case, I'd be game to either adjourn this meeting or if we have the capacity to do it, and I don't know, Sam, what's set up with the board meeting. Do we have to wait till 5 to start our board meeting?
Yes. Yeah, we have to close out this one and restart at 5. Chris.
Yep. Okay.
Patty wanted to let you know that the budget has been submitted and we haven't had any feedback yet. But we did submit it with to a couple individuals that said that they would look over it and make sure that it was submitted properly.
That's good. It'll be interesting to get some feedback and find out what the response is to it. I did ask a question about working capital. I think it's rather speculative at this point, given that the actions in Washington early in the day today probably will have some impact, or at least they have the potential to have some impact. But you guys don't have any new information on the impact of congressional action, do you?
I do, Chris. I was informed by Senator Schumer's office that we had received an additional $1 million for our CARES Act funding, which was they called at noontime and gave me the exact amount that we would be eligible for. So that's a huge shot in the arm for us.
Do we qualify for any additional PPP?
We don't know yet. We haven't applied, or we're not aware of any extra PPP money yet. That's still in the talking stages, I guess. But we were informed by, like I said, Senator Schumer's office was well aware of what we'd be getting, and they passed that on to us.
Isn't that excellent?
Yes, it is. Very good news.
Yep.
Steve, is that pertaining to the airport
Yes,
or overall?
no, it's just to the airport. Same program that we've been going through for the last, the CARES Act out at the airport. I think they'll be doing, adding to that, our fund out there, I believe.
That's great. Over the weekend or late Friday afternoon, airports were taken out of this CARES Act bill. And with your help, I know talking to Senator Stefanik and Mr. Schumer, and a lot of work with a lot of other airports, they brought it back into the budget, not at $4 billion like they had requested, but at $2 billion. But that helps us out tremendously, even at that amount. So you folks talking to our representatives and our congressmen and so on really make a big difference in whether we get any funding or not. So thank you very much. We appreciate it here at the airport for all the work that you do.
You're welcome, Stephanie. We're all one group, but yeah, I saw all of that correspondence over the weekend. And as you know, we talked with, and the board members that were there, we talked to Congresswoman Stefanik on Thursday, and she was very helpful and very knowledgeable about, you know, what we do and what our needs were, as is Senator Schumer's office, who's been extremely helpful too on this and other projects that we're currently got in the pipeline. Chris, does that help you kind of bring you up to speed on where we are with that legislation over the weekend?
I didn't hear your specific question, but that does address the question I had.
Okay. Have we got anything else? Anybody got anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
We're good here. David, you set.
I'm good.
Stephanie? And who else? John? Is John on?
I'm fine, thank you.
Yep, I'm all set.
Okay.
Go into the law now and
Yeah.
go to the.
So, Chris, on that note, we need to close out the Finance Committee meeting, and we'll log out, and we'll, at 5 o'clock, we'll log back in for the special board meeting.
That sounds very good.
I would move to adjourn, Chris.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
thank you.
Thank you all.
Okay.
See you in 30 minutes.
Yes.
Yes.